What's up, y'all? I know I was supposed to do this video yesterday, but I passed out super early. But figured do it right now. Um, Later tonight, we're gonna kind of get started on the Christmas movies. We're gonna review that. I call it mediocre, but it's been a little bit since I watched it. The 2006 Black Christmas movie. I'll talk about that a little bit later, though. But right now, like last week, we're gonna be doing my favorite albums of the 2000s. This will probably be the last one because I don't think I can think of any from the 2010s I really like. There's like a couple, but I wouldn't do like a whole video about it. There's definitely gonna be more music related videos. Like maybe this Sunday I'll do a bands I love. We'll bring that back, or I'll do another music list. I'll think of something. But right now, I figure we'll kick it off with my number 10. Oh, hold on. I guess before I do that. Oh, also before I do that, my planned videos this week are tonight, Black Christmas, the remake. Tomorrow, It Man 3. Wednesday, Lady in the Water, M. Night Shyamalan. Thursday, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. I hear that movie is super bad shit. And then wow. Then on Friday, I don't know why I said number. Friday, I will be doing another Christmas movie, which this movie is, oh my, and it's not the Michael Keaton one like most people think. It's Jack Frost about a killer snowman. It's something, guys. So that's my planned reviews this week, and then maybe something on Sunday. But we'll get started here. Before we get started. Sorry, I got a little cough anyway, so my cough's gonna probably sound a lot worse in these videos. Just telling you that ahead of time. Anyway. Alright. Number 10, Limp Bizkit. I know it's more of a joke one, but I actually like this album. Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. It's a weird title for an album, but this is probably their most famous album. Like when you think this album, their album is definitely this one. The album cover is like these little, I don't know what to call them, like midgets or whatever on the cover, but this wasn't a bad listen. I listened to this last night. Very much like just Limp Bizkit letting loose. And honestly, I didn't realize how many songs he's done with people. I mean, he did a song in this specific album. He did a song with Scott Weiland. Hold On, I think was the song. That was the Scott Weiland one. He did it's like a remix of Rollin', but with like DMX, Redman, and those are rappers, but yeah. But in general, it's a fun album. Some fun songs. I like the mix, the way that they were able to mix rap and kind of rock and make it sound good. Their most famous song, My Way, which in my opinion, I think that's their best song, which I mainly know from wrestling, from WrestleMania 17, but that's a great one. That's on here. Rollin', which I actually love the music video for, which most people know that's Undertaker's theme song when he was a biker. But yeah, this was just a fun album. I mean, I'm not going to go too into it. I mean, it's Limp Bizkit. You know what to expect with it, but it was a fun little album. I had fun with it. It was a fun little listen. So that's my number 10. My number 9, Slipknot Subliminal versus Volume 3, I think is what it was called. This album is, dude. I was debating doing this one because they had 3 albums this decade. They had this one, then you had Iowa, which had like Disaster Piece, People Equal Shit. That was another great album. And then you had All Hope Is Gone, which Psychosocial's on. But for me, this album won it. I think those two are great, but this one just listening to last night, the change in voice that Corey Taylor is able to do, and the guitar work, and even the opening song, Prelude 3.0, is just a nice way to kick off the album. This album in general just is hard. I don't feel like, I think in general, well, from here on, in my opinion, a lot of the albums I pick, there's no, like, I don't feel like with any of the albums, there's no lull. I don't feel like there's one song that, okay, I could have gone without that. I feel like all the songs just hit. The Blister exists. This one is, Duality's on there, Before I Forget. I mean, this just hits hard, bro. The guitar, Corey's voice, the way he's able to change. Just in general, I've always loved Slipknot because of how creative they are. I mean, the masks, the work they put into their music videos, and just all of that. Opium of the People was a great song. Pulse of the Maggots, like just the titles sometimes of their songs even. It's just like, God, it's such a cool name. Probably my favorite song on here is Before I Forget. Fucking love that song. I listen to that all the time. And it's just, Corey Taylor to me has shown, like, throughout this decade, even with his other albums that came out at the same time, just that Slipknot knows how to keep their same sound but also change it a bit. So overall, I heavily recommend it. It's one of Slipknot's best. I mean, this is my favorite. I don't know if I would say it's their best. I know most people would probably say Iowa is their best album. But yeah, so that's my number 9. Number 8 is, I have 2 Sevendust's on here. I know I kind of broke my rule because I originally wasn't going to do doubles, but fuck it. Sevendust Seasons, which came out in 2003. I have a lot of albums from like 2003, I've noticed. Between 2003 and 2001, just because, yeah. But yeah, Sevendust Seasons. This one, in my opinion, is one of Sevendust's best. I almost borderline put this where I put the other Sevendust album, but to me, this one, this is almost as good. This came out in 2003. It's very new. When I think new metal album of that time, this one's it. I mean, even the opening song, Disease. I think I've always talked about like how Sevendust, to me, they're one of the most underrated bands. It's not their fault though. It's just they came out at the same time as other bigger bands at the time. But this album just was a nice listen. Enemy is in my opinion, is probably my favorite song of theirs. And I love that there's 2 singers. Like, you have the guy who does more of the screaming, and then you have Lahan Witherspoon who does like the regular vocals, and he's so fucking good. And then the way he's able to change his voice and have a different sound. And I've always felt like with Sevendust, I just think if they were around at a different time, they could have got bigger. But it was just, this was the 2000s, new metal. You had Disturbed, you had Slipknot, you had because they started like in the 90s, but they kind of got big in the aughts. But yeah, it was just Drowning Pool. Even I'll throw them in there, which I'm kind of mad at. I didn't think about this till last second. I wanted to put Sinner. I probably should have put that album on here, but whatever. But Suffocate's a good song. I would say Face to Face, that song to me, that's a nice way to end the album. That's a nice album ender because that one hits hard. That's one I listened to a lot when I, went through a lot of breakups and shit. That's a good breakup song. Not just breakup, like if you're pissed off in general. It's a good, like, you're pissed the fuck off, listen to that song. In general, I think that's what this album in general really is. It's a good, if you're pissed off, listen to this album. So I heavily recommend, one of Sevendust's best, and we're going to see them again later. My number 7, going through these a little quick. I'll try to take a little time. Number 7 is Fallen Evanescence in 2003. This is their most famous album, probably the album that most people know. Amy Lee on the cover, the nice blue lighting. I've always been a big Evanescence fan, and one of the reasons is Amy Lee. Her voice is able to like, she's able to. It's almost like it puts you in a trance. You know, you're in this like trance, right? And her voice is so haunting but beautiful at the same time. And I think that's what this album is: haunting but beautiful at the same time. I mean, even the way it starts with "Going Under," I've always loved that song. So for that to be all, that's such a cool opener, and then "Bring Me to Life," that's like a good two hit, you know. Um, but yeah, "Everybody's Fool" is on her. In my opinion, "Hello," which is more later in the album, is a beautiful one about her sister. When I was like, dude, you're just sitting. There's some of these songs I'm just like in a trance. Like I'm just like, my God, I'm so mesmerized by her voice, and the guitar work is really good, and the way they're able to change their sound. Like for me, it's always good for an album when the sound isn't just all the same. You're able to change it a little bit, and I think Amy Lee and the band did that very well. My Last Breath and Whisper, like, because those are the songs that they end on, so that this album ends pretty strong. So, um, Haunted is a great song. That's like the one where I'm like, for the of all the songs, probably felt like I was most in the trance. Was that one? It just all great ones, and this one is the one that made them big. So, but I'm sorry, My Immortal's on here, but I put the band version because I know the actual release they put like just My Immortal, which is just the piano. Because there's two versions of it. There's one where with just like the piano that like, the music video has and stuff, and then there's a band version where it goes from like When I'm All Alone, and then it like instead of like the piano afterwards, it's like guitar, and to me that is the better version. Unfortunately, it wasn't released on the album, but I put it anyway because My Immortal in general is such a beautiful song, and it's about her sister, and it's a sad song. Like that's one like when I've seen people react to it, like almost instantly, most people cry or at least get emotional because that is a good emotional song, and like that her voice in that. For me, the band version just she goes to that transition when she says "When I'm All Alone," and then the guitar comes in it's so good. So yeah, in general, this is a great album, another great listen. You'll be like just almost mesmerized with her voice, like how she's able to make it like so eerie but also really fucking beautiful at the same time. Amy Lee is, I would probably say, well, now it's probably the lady from Nightwish, but Amy Lee's still up there for me. Like her voice is just so good. So that's my number 7. Number 6, well, before I do that. Number 6 is Korn Untouchables, which came out in 2002. This one is another big Korn out. For me, Korn, from you have their first album, the self-titled one, then you had Follow the Leader, and then you had Issues, which also was in the 90s. I guess I forgot about that one. But then this one, I would say Issues and this one were like Korn continuing, like I said in the last video, their self-titled album was like the more like raw album, and Follow the Leader is like where they just let loose. I think Untouchables and Issues kind of do this in good too, because I feel like this one's just Korn is just letting loose and having fun, and this is Korn at like their most iconic. This is a great album. I love the art with like the kids and stuff, like the art, the trippy art with the kids on the cover, and yeah. Number 1, probably the opening song. I don't know why I said number 1, but the opening song, "Here to Stay," is such a nice listen. The music video for that's the thing too. By this point, Korn really started going really trippy with their music videos too. I mean, even before that, but I feel like they really amped it up by this point. "Here to Stay" is a great one. "Don't Stay" is a good one. Okay, no, I'm reading something else. Sorry. Scratch that out. Make Believe. That's a great one. But in general, yeah, Korn was going for just like they were just letting loose at this point. I really love it. Hollow Life's a great one, and then probably for me their biggest song on here besides Here to Stay. Well, there's three. Alone I Break is a good one. That one has like this weird eerie sound to it. Oh, like Amy, I would say Jonathan Davis has that like eerie voice too. Like the way he's able to like almost put you in a trance where you can like, and then he goes to like the weird, like kind of like in Freak on a Leash, that like voice change. Like yeah, there's a little bit of that in this. It's just a nice trippy listen. That's like why I've always loved Korn, is that their trippy sound. But Alone I Break is like, that one is like that. And then the music video is even trippier. Thoughtless is probably my favorite song on here. That was actually one of the few songs that got me into the band. I remember listening to it, but like the music video with has Jesse Pinkman in it. It's another like bullying song, like a kid goes through bullying, and I think the video does a really good job of showing it. The only thing though in the video, because in the end he goes to the dance and ends up puking on everybody. Apparently that was originally going to be, they were going to use a gun, but this was like 3 years after Columbine, so they changed. I think it works fine, and just in general, such a great song. Korn is a great band that reaches people like who have been bullied. That's a thing I've really noticed a lot about their music, is it gets people who've been bullied, like, or like the outcasts. I think in general, Korn is like a great outlet for people like that. That's one reason I really love them too. So in general, great album. Korn Untouchables, I think, continues the trend of their great. They were just having a streak of great albums up until this point. So that's my number 6. Now we're in top 5 territory. Linkin Park Meteora. Like I mentioned with Seven Dust, there's gonna be 2. I could not have. Obviously, I already spoiled. Hybrid Theory is my number 1, but I also had to have this one on here. To me, this one is just as iconic. It has my favorite Linkin Park song, Numb, on here. And the fact that Numb is like the fucking album ender is the best part. But just in general, this album was just such a good listen. So many great songs. The fact that sometimes, I mean, R.I.P. Chester. And Chester, man, his voice, the way he's able to have that range is crazy in all of the songs. And then the rapping, which gets mixed into Breaking the Habit, is a nice song. Like, especially like if you are suicidal, though, that's a song I would listen to. If you really like, From the Inside is a nice like break. Like, it's basically a song about cheating, but the music video is crazy. Lying From You's a great one. Somewhere I Belong. I love the trippiness of the music video for that one too. It's just such a great album all around. Faint, even though the song is pretty short, it goes, man. Like, I think that's the thing about a lot of these albums to me, is a great album is one that I don't feel like there's like a lull in the album, right? That there's a song that you like, okay, I can take this out. I feel like in general, this album, all the songs hit, man. You're just going like at 100 like miles per hour with this album. And then it concludes with Numb, which is my favorite song. The fucking range of Chester in it, man. And I love the music video too, just about this girl who feels like she's alone by herself. It's like Linkin Park almost make their music videos like, this was still at a time where I feel like music videos were almost still like movies, like little mini movies telling mini stories. And I really love the music video for Numb. And just in general, such a good album. Such a great way to end the album too. So in general, Meteora is definitely one of the best. I arguably could have probably made this number 2, but I didn't want to just do back-to-back Linkin Park. But objectively, this is probably my second favorite, but yeah. So yeah, that's my number 5. Listen to Meteor. I would say every song. I wouldn't skip any. I think in general, it's a good listen. Number 4 is another Seven Dust album. Animosity, which came out in 2001. 2001, man. I didn't really realize it, but holy shit, the amount of albums I have from 2001 is just because it shows how good of a year that was. I mean, because the next one after this is from 2001. But this is another one. I think to me, the reason I had this Edge Out Seasons, I like the more chilled out version of this album. It has like this like more relaxed, and also has my favorite song from them in terms of, if I just had to say vocally, Seven Dust's best song is Angel Sun. There's no like there's guitar, but it's not like as hard as their other songs. It's a nice little song to listen to if like someone in your life dies, or and that's basically what the song is about. You know, someone in your life dies. It's a nice like send off song. So it's a good listen. And Lahan's voice in that specific album, my God, in that specific song, I mean, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's like one often now, like when I do listen to Seven Does, I do sing that one the most because my God, his voice in that one is just crazy. But Trust is a great one. T.O.B. is great. Xmas Day is a nice, like, it's a Christmas song, but it's not like a normal Christmas song. Damaged is a great one. Damaged is a nice, good one. Like, just, probably Live Again is probably my favorite one, though, from this album. Where even the music video for it is great. Just, Seven Dust continue just in this shows like they're one of the most underrated bands, and I kind of wish this album just was a bit bigger, but unfortunately, this came out in 2001, where there was other great albums. I mean, that was when Sinner by Drowning Pool came out, and then my number 3 came out, probably one of their best, and I should have put them in the last one, Tool Lateralis, which, holy shit, this album, bro. It was like, Tool is one I would say you need to listen to the whole thing. I can listen to individual Tool songs, but in general, like, Tool, you kind of need to listen to the albums together because it is an experience. This one, the art even is crazy, and just the grudge. And I like the little, because there's like, in between like the big long songs, they have like short songs that are like a minute that are just quick, and I like them. But just a great album in general. Just a nice little story. Yet Parable and Parabola are just two ones you gotta listen to back to back. Just are so good. Fucking Maynard, man. And I like Tool is definitely one I've said I got more into later. I listened to this whole album, had to have been like 2014. I think that's when I really found Tool, but I listened to the whole album by that point, and I was just wowed by just the sound, the trippiness, and that's really all you could say. Like, Maynard's another one you add to that list who has like a haunting but like mesmerizing voice. And just, you, like, in general, Tool is just like, they are a bit of a listen, and yeah, they have some songs that are like, Lateralis, the title song is like 9 minutes, but it's great. And it just tells a story, and it's a nice listen. Tool is one of those bands, like, they're the epitome of you can just sit back and just let the music play. And yeah, and the reason I like those minute songs, it's almost like an intermission in between like the really long songs that are coming, because they have songs that are like 13 minutes and stuff. So, but in general, this is a great album. The art is a trip. Like, I've always loved Tool art, you know. So yeah, but this is a great listen if you like Tool. So let me get started before we go into my top 2. Number 2, System of a Down, Toxicity. When I think albums from this decade, this is one. The art with just System of a Down, but like in the shape of like the Hollywood sign, and then you got like the red Toxicity on the bottom. Then this was another one that came out in 2001. It's just, I'll admit the reason I listened to the album first was Chop Suey. Then I found Toxicity, the title song, which that is great. And yeah, man, this in general is just such a great listen. Prison Song goes hard. Deer Dance goes hard. I like Jet Pilot. I like all the songs. It's just such a great listen because this was just fucking System of a Down letting loose, and like this is what I mean, like when you think album from this decade, this is one. Um, and then you got like the title song, which in my opinion is one of the greatest songs that like even people who don't like rock like that always listen to this song, Chop Suey. This was just such a that song always is hit, and I remember when I first listened to it and just was mesmerized. And then just listening to the whole album in general, you're mesmerized. Listening to the album, the song with the album in general is just it's much better. So Aerials is another really good one, and that's a solid like ending for the album. So overall, awesome album. System of a Down is a great band. Heavily recommend this. I mean, I know people like Chop Suey, but I would recommend listening to the whole album because Chop Suey almost sounds different when you listen to it with the whole album along with it. So now to my number one, and I've already spoiled it, Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, which came out in 2000. Bruh, this album is all the songs are bangers. This was Linkin Park at their best. When you think album in general from this decade is this one. Like just the cover with the gray, and then you got like the soldier carrying the flag, and just One Step Closer, which is like 2.5 minutes, but it fucking goes. You open with fucking Paper Cut. It's the music videos for it. Crawling, Points of Authority. Like, dude, just banger after banger after banger. You're just listening to. It's just like that's why I love. That's like why a lot of times, like for me, the status of number one, it has to be stuff like that because it is just named banger after banger. It just pushing me away as like the ending song is great, and then I'm gonna set aside time for In the End. Like I mean, if you think of a song that made a decade, it is definitely that song. And I know some people say it's overplayed. And I'll admit it took for me initially to get some used to with that, but eventually I started really loving it. And the music video is just such a trip. And Mike Shinoda's rapping is so on point, and it's such a just the way they're able to mix genres and make it work. And yeah, man, this album like made the decade, so there was no way I could not make it number one. So yeah, guys, this whole series was fun. I wanted to start making music stuff again. I haven't really been talking music lately, so I kind of want to get back to doing it. I might make another list. I don't know if it'll be albums, maybe it'll be bands or something, but we'll see. I'll eventually will be bringing back bands I love because there's still a couple I haven't done yet. So, but yeah, later tonight I will be reviewing the 2006 Black Christmas movie remake, and it doesn't have, from what I remember, like what made the original great, which I reviewed last year. Sorry if I'm touching my nose a lot, just because I'm about to sneeze. It's I remember the leads not being that great, but there being some decent kills. We'll see if I maybe my opinion changes. I remember it being really mediocre, but we'll see if my opinion changes. So, but I'm gonna get going now. Let me cheers, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Later. But as usual, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Kamala Harris. I'll talk to y'all later tonight. Peace.